All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Give me just 1 second. I'm just going to tweet out to the world that we're live. Hope everyone had a good week in the markets. Was certainly a interesting one here. All right. Just making sure all the volumes and levels and all that stuff are good. And of course, here we go. My Safari is breaking down. These M1 Max are fantastic, but I find when I'm streaming, there's a little bit of a slowdown. So that's why I spent way too much money on one of the new fancy pro high-end dealies. All right. Boom. Okay, that worked. Not quite big enough. Let's move that over. Someday I'm just going to start streaming into this. What is it? 19 by 9. This wider aspect ratio. Just see how pissed people get. Because I know 99% of the world's 16 by 9. But anyway. Where is full cam? Hi. All right, so everything's good now. I've got the chat up there to ask questions, as always, for Stats Edge Pro members. I've also got the Discord room. Let me make sure that's visible up here. And good to go. It's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, okay. So, again, if anyone's new here, this is I take today, Fridays mostly, and we sit and we go through the markets. We talk about stock market, FX market, crypto markets, what I think of them, my technical analysis as a CMT, which is somewhere for you. And then we scan for some stocks. I try to figure out what I'm going to do next. Usually I try to pick a couple names. Today I'm actually, and I talked about this in the Stats Edge Pro room, I cleared the decks. My watch list has just been kind of stagnant. A lot of the names have been chopping around for a long period of time. So I went through and I cleared the decks entirely. So I'm kind of wiping out the old watch list and I'm starting again with a new one that we'll find today. And as always, for you guys who are not Stats Edge Pro members, essentially what Stats Edge is, you can see I got a cool little logo and everything down there now. We're certainly growing. Is the output of about the next hour of work you're going to see. So I sit down in front of my screens for, an hour or two. I scan the markets, I annotate charts, I try to figure out what's going to happen next in the markets and stuff like that. And then I upload that as a nice, neat little packaged blog post for you guys for less than $2 a day, which I think is definitely worth it. We've got a chat room and then we've got a live Q&A, which I haven't done October yet. So that's going to have to be next week. Okay, we'll figure that out. A 2-hour live Q&A via Zoom where people can hop on the mic or they can type in the chat or whatever, and I go through great details on questions. I've spent like a half hour, 45 minutes on some questions. You also get access to all my scans via TrendSpider and Trade Ideas as well as part of it, and more stuff that I can't think of. But anyway, I think it's a pretty good a good deal. But for you people who just want to come hang out, I certainly appreciate you guys. And my YouTube will always be something that kind of exists freely. Because really, when it comes down to it, I like talking stocks and I like teaching. So the fact that some people listen to me, I think, is always fascinating. First comment we see is the TI strength alerts are killing it again. I actually have something that I'm going to show you guys after I do my scanning, where you're going to be able to get way more TI strength symbols. I think you can get it right now, but I will show that off. I'm going to do that a little bit later because I'm actually going to record at the same time, and hopefully recording and streaming doesn't fry this M1 Mac. Again, I can't wait. I got the M1 Max or Pro, or I can't remember, one of the bigger ones. That should be able to encode this stuff way, way more. So let's just get into it. So if I hit Kablamo, nice. Hey, Gary. Awesome. So one thing that I always like to do, and let's actually just do that over here, is just go through the YouTube channel and talk about the videos I made this week. Studio. I don't think it hurts if I show you guys this whole thing. You know, you'll find out how much money I'm making from YouTube. Am I not allowed to leak that? Whole 77 big ones every month goes right to the pub. So what did I upload this week? So this week started on the... One thing I like about Windows so much more than Mac OS is that when you click on the date, it comes up with a calendar there. Okay, so anything past the 15th would have been this week. So this one, Gdrx. Gdrx was, and still is, I'm still in a bit, but this was my trade for this week for sure. So basically with Gdrx, what I was looking for is this kind of consolidation pattern that was going on here. And that was actually happening, I don't know if I mentioned in the video, but this $40 area had been a big deal for this. So I bought some right here as we closed above that that area. Oh, and it was also a big short float, wasn't it? Yeah, 21% short. So that was good. So, yeah, so I just bought it right there. It went up kind of 2 days in a row. And I told people yesterday that I was taking out a big chunk, and I took out a chunk. And then today it actually put in this bottoming tail, which I think is probably some bullish action. Came back to retest this area and then closed strong. But that was by far my best swing trade this week. Hey, Mike. Hey, Gary. I think I said hi to Gary, but just what's going on. And then VLDR, which I know sucks. Yeah, I haven't taken this quite yet. I don't think, I'd have to check. But yeah, I'm looking for a close. And this is one of the things that I've talked about a lot with the guys in Stats Edge Pro, and might be worthwhile for you guys too to just listen to, is a lot of this talking about doing my swing trades just at the end of the day. And I've been doing this for a few months now. Maybe some of the guys will know better, but guys is in, I use guys gender neutrally, just FYI. But I've been seeing, not just in this market, but in a lot, I've been seeing a lot of this shenanigans right here, where, you know, you had this prior resistance right here, and twice in a row we broke above and then put in these topping tails to crash back below. And I've been seeing that so much that in my head, I basically just said, okay, what happens if I just wait until the last hour of every day? You know, what's the best case scenario and what's the worst case scenario? Which, as a trader, that's what you should always be focused on, right? What, if things go well, what happens? And if things go poorly, what happens? So I said, okay, well, worst case scenario in waiting for the last hour of the day is I miss a trade, right? Something, I was like, hey, if this thing breaks 10, that's great. It breaks 10, it goes to like 20, and I miss it. And that sucks, but I'm old enough now and I've been around the game long enough now that I just shrug that off and say, the market's open tomorrow and there'll be another one. Best case scenario is in situations like this, I don't get in. So that's kind of what just happened with this one, right? Is that this one just kind of popped up and then came back both times. It's still holding above 6, which is interesting to me. So this is one that's probably going to make it back onto the list. But yeah, I want to close above this area. And it makes sense, right? If you're looking at candles, and this is something that I think it's funny that JC yells at a lot of his employees for all the time, if they reference candles before they close. At some point, this was a very strong candle, and this was a very strong candle. And in both cases, they sold off. So, this one might work out to be just a little bit better here. So when it kind of, when that happens, right, it's like, what do? You just go, okay, well, on to the next one. Oh, screen moved a bit. But I was getting, and they're small hits, but there was just so many times where, right, in this one, I may have been hit twice. So what am I trying to do? There, I'm trying to go. So then the next one was Dvax. Dvax. And that one's probably going to make it back on the list as well. Theory behind this one is just, A, it's a monster. And B, it's got a pretty heavy short float sitting at 22%. We had a great trade on Dvax in Stats Edge Pro right here. Again, I would love to say that I got out here, but I was just scaling out as things went. But now it's kind of basing around again. It should have been enough time that short float should have been updated if it changed. So I think we still kind of exist in this 20-ish% short float type area. So that one's probably going to make it back on the list. So maybe I won't do a clean slate. Maybe I'll just get rid of everything that looks a little bit ugly. But yeah, those were the only videos this week. I'm just doing them a little bit less just because, again, they're, I don't mind. I'll show you the numbers, right? That Dvax got 55 views. Right? This one got, of course, the shitty one gets a 176, right? Even, so every now and then they do okay, but what I need is I need a friggin' YouTube consultant. Someone who's free. Or we'll just manage the channel and I'll pay them everything the channel makes or something. But yeah, that's everything for last month. So let's go into FX and crypto first, which I use TrendSpider for this. For both of these, links are in the description down below. Let me actually go and I'm going to move this over to about here so my camera doesn't cover it. And this is also basically the software I use for charting because I can annotate it up like this. Again, these are kind of what the charts look like for your Stats Edge Pro people, things like this. And then let's just take a look. So BTC, USD. Let's actually do... Yeah, the main reason I use TrendSpider is because Trade Ideas doesn't have crypto access, and I like crypto access. So kind of what's going on with Bitcoin is a rejection. I guess we don't need that annotation anymore. But yeah, so I've had this, basically everything drawn on here has been drawn on here forever, right? So the cup and handle breakout happened exactly like it should. I mentioned the target should have gotten us to 70, but this undercutting these prior highs right here and then selling off, ignore this bad tick. This, I believe it actually did happen, but it was only on a couple exchanges that had like flash crashes. Basically, for people who haven't traded a lot of crypto and you don't know, a lot of what crypto trading happens now is that if I'm working a large order, I will work that large order across a bunch of different exchanges at once. So, I may work it across like, if I've got $100 million of Bitcoin to sell, I may open up 20 or 30 different exchange accounts and right across all of them just hit go. And, there's systems and algorithms and programs and stuff that will do that for you now. But what happens is sometimes you get these flash crashes where crypto will sell, a bunch of stops will get hit, maybe some people will get liquidated if they're on margin, things like this. And you get these flash crashes that are instantly reversed. It's why the market halts, is because it's supposed to prevent those, right? There's a big whole argument to be made of if it is, and if it is, how well it does, that kind of thing. But yeah, I took a short in this area with just stops over highs here, just because, and I think I mentioned this last week. Let's actually just put it in this note. ETF news, where Bitcoin is very much a sell the news instrument. The highs of Bitcoin have been in things like when futures was launched, that was a top of Bitcoin. When Coinbase was launched, that was a top of Bitcoin. When El Salvador adopted it, that was a top for Bitcoin. So it's very much, it has this pattern of ramp up into the news, sell off when the news comes out. So it's one of those things that, why wouldn't, knowing that statistic as stats edge trading, why would I not take that statistic and then wait for price to confirm it? In which case we did have this break through highs and then sell down, which could be a bull trap. I don't know, but I am short some Bitcoin right there. I am long some Atom USD as a crypto. Again, you can see, the notes that I make for the Stats Edge Pro guys. I said bought off this level. I told everyone every time I bought off this level, right here, and then again here. And when we broke the downtrend line, I added a bit. This was a joke about the laser eyes. But I got a good position on this, right? Where I am in, wait, if I do this, does that help you guys, or is that annoying, that circle? Just let me know. But yeah, these lows right here is basically what I'm playing off. So my average is in the low 30s, and I will defend the low 30s on this one. So not much risk on here, hoping for this kind of cup and then handle kind of pattern to take us to new heights type of thing. As for the rest, a lot of the alts didn't. Yeah, I even said this. Very interesting that Ether is not running at all. Where Bitcoin is, it ran kind of smack dab into this $4,000 area, and then it's pulling off as well. XRP didn't get moving at all, right? So in theory, and this actually, now I might actually look into this, but in theory, if I was to look to short, I should short the weaker ones. So I shouldn't be short Bitcoin. I should be short like Ripple, just because it's relative underperformance. Too short. So that's kind of the way that it looks as well. Nice chart, no matter the symbol. So yeah, well, that's, so Brett just said, I think about Atom, nice chart regardless of the symbol. And that's why, so this list, is my face in the way here? I'll just do this. So this list right here, like watch as I scroll down it. These are all, so I use Kraken as my crypto broker. Everything on this list is traded in Kraken, and Kraken isn't like Uniswap. They don't trade like Shibu Inu or SafeMoon or any of like the really, really scammy ones. So these are all, in some respects, legitimate crypto. So I go through this list every night and I treat it like stocks. I treat it no differently. Some of them will give margin on, the really active ones. I know Bitcoin, you can get 5-to-1. Doge, I think you can get 2-to-1. Ethereum, you can get 5-to-1. Some of them you can't. If they're lesser known coins, they aren't going to take the risk to give margin. But you can buy them, you can short them, you can do whatever, and they're all, for me, they look like stocks. So I just started trading them as stocks. They trade 24/7, 365. So I just put out like Algorand, for example. I may have got triggered. I'll need to check my Kraken account after that because I just had a stop limit in place and said basically if we get above, I think it was 190, is either 190 or 195. I can't remember. Either way, I'm probably in. And then I just, within Kraken, I can say, when I'm in, get me out if it gets to this price. So it will put in the trade. It will put in the trade, and then when the trade gets triggered, it will automatically put in a stop loss. So again, I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I can't trade crypto. It's 24/7. I would never sleep, blah blah blah." I think if that's the case, you're trading too big or you're trading on too low of a time frame. Right? Whereas this Algorand, again, the guys will tell you, this has been on the watch list forever now. It will not. Maybe I should make a separate watch list. Someone remind me. I should make a separate watch list in the watch list spreadsheet for cryptos and prices that I'm interested in. I don't know why I haven't thought of that before. Or make just another section, stocks, crypto. Because I'm just treating them like stocks. So if Algorand triggered, I probably bought, I don't really talk dollars, but I bought, it doesn't make no sense, but I bought a number of Algorands, and if it goes up to these highs, it's no different from me buying an $18 stock that goes to 25, right? I will be just as happy as if I bought, right, again, an $18 stock that went to 25, and this is just a $1.8 crypto that went to 21. And the way I look at this with relative strength is the same way I look at stocks. This thing wouldn't be, this thing wouldn't make sense to buy if it was kind of on the bottom there. Hold on. We're talking pizza. We're talking pizza on my other screen. Getting it Donaire. I don't think. Oh, you guys don't have Donairs, do you? That's a distinctly not only Canadian thing. I think that's a distinctly East Coast Canada thing. If you guys are ever up here, get a Donaire. You just trust me. Yeah, like I don't know what the hell this JHST is, but this looks great. So it had this long declining wedge, broke out of that, and now it's putting in these kind of 4 or 5 inside bars right here in a row, right? So yeah, I'm gonna do that on the weekend when I upgrade your guys's, or when I do your guys's nighttime report. I'm gonna start putting in crypto trigger prices and stuff. I always say, and the thing with crypto too is that so watch over 1.65. The thing with crypto, as I always say, is why not open why not take $250 and send it over to a crypto exchange? Like down there, you guys have got Coinbase, you got all kinds of crypto exchanges down there. Like, why not send over $250 and don't trade it on margin, don't do anything like that, but just start. And the reason I'm kind of getting more and more adamant about this, where before I was just like, yeah, do whatever, is that I think eventually stocks will trade like this, where they're going to be 24/7, 365. They're just going to kind of go the way they're going. And by trading a very tiny amount of crypto, So I'm still watching this over 15. Let's see if we can move that there. Right? So why not take $300 and say, okay, I'm going to start trading, and my position size per trade is going to be $100 of crypto. You're not making anything. You're not losing anything. Commissions work on a percentage, at least with Kraken. I shouldn't say that with everyone, but they work on a percentage of how much you buy with no min and no max. So I think I pay like 5 basis points or something. Yeah, this Solana, I miss this one and I'm mad about it. So I talk about this flag break and I say the measured move should get you up here somewhere. And that's kind of exactly what happened. I think Solana is now the 3rd or 4th biggest. But yeah, so I'm going to add a crypto watch list the same way I'm adding the same way I have a US watch list. I just committed myself to a bunch more work for you guys, but that's okay. There was one more I wanted to see the Doge. Wow, that's the last time I've really annotated that. That's not true right now, but see, like even the Dogecoin is looking okay. I don't think I'd like it now because it's got this high right overhead, but over 30 cents. Why not? And we saw what happened this week with an ETF or a SPAC that has no proof of concept yet, right? If you guys want me to talk about the absurdity of Bean today, I can tell you what happened and I can tell you why it's the stupidest shit ever, and then I can tell you why I don't focus on news. This is like the perfect example. So basically, Bitcoin, I guess I always like to summarize when I'm done each kind of thing. Bitcoin looks like it could be toppy. It's still strong. I am taking a counter trend trade, and I know that. The alts are holding on very well as well. So, I'm a little bit wary of the major ones, crypto or Bitcoin, Ethereum. However, I have noticed a decoupling in correlation, which basically just means that, Bitcoin doesn't move all cryptos as much anymore, which again is why I'm saying they're treated more like stocks. They're trading more individually. So I like Atom, I like Algorand, Curve, CURV, Quantum. Some of these stronger names. Again, the summary will be in the Stats Edge Pro stuff, which I probably won't do tonight. I'll probably do tomorrow morning. And then we go after some Forex pairs that I like to trade. This is just me. I day trade, I swing trade, I trade Forex, I trade Bitcoin or crypto. I am going to watch. Come on. And I think that this is the same with all the GBP pairs. Watching lower time. So this one I'm watching the lower time frame, which I generally use the hourly chart when I'm trading crypto and trading Forex for entries, and then the daily charts for just trend direction. But this basically yen versus pretty much everything. So let's actually go with the yen crosses. This is Aussie Yen, and Aussie Yen is a bit interesting. I could get into it if I want, but it has to do with like interest rate arbitrage, and it's boring. But basically, yen has no interest rate, and Australia usually has a pretty high interest rate. So Aussie Yen is like a risk on, risk off pair. I mentioned that to you guys. I don't know if any of you really picked up on it, but maybe someone remind me during the Q&A, which we're going to do next week. I can talk a lot about this. I think it's very interesting, but basically yen against everything, right? Yen, this is yen US dollars. I was looking to short right here, and then it just ripped against me. But and then this is yen versus Canadian. And again, see, I was looking short, and I never took that trade, but that obviously wouldn't have been a good one. So now I'm watching these pullback areas. And again, this is how I trade everything. This is how I trade crypto, stocks, whatever. What's the trend? Well, for my time frame, which is holding for a couple days, we're obviously in an uptrend here. However, I'm not going to buy it when it does something like this because that's overextended. So when it pulls back, we can buy right there or try to find a time lower entry time frame around this gray area as it pulls back to this prior high and see if we can get a bounce off of that. So the yen, is bullish but pulling back. I guess to summarize that, GBP USD, I've basically just every time it's kind of hit these anchored VWAPs here, I've just been shorting off those. It's just been working. So I'm going to continue to do it. I think I went into the weekend close or short a little bit of pound dollar, which they call cable. Don't really know why. I know there's some story there about a cable running under the ocean or something, but just if you hear anyone in Forex talking about cable, they're talking about pound dollars. Hold on. So I don't trade all of these pairs, so I only look at a few of them. USD CAD I trade, and I'm obviously yes. So maybe tomorrow. I'm biased against US CAD because I'm Canadian and I get paid in US dollars when it comes to most things. So for me, it would suck for my country, but for me, I want an incredibly weak Canadian dollar. This one's been the opposite of that. CAD has been strong for a very, very long time, which sucks. I was hoping that this area of resistance, which is this low right here, this congestion and these lows in through here, would kind of act as support. Maybe so far they're doing that. Maybe I could play that for a little bit of a bounce. And then I think that's it. Oh, I trade Euro USD, but that kind of trends a lot with the pound. And I am short some Euro USD, I think, as well in my FX account. So, yen strong, pulling back. GBP Euro weak but bouncing. CAD is kind of stuck in a range. I try not to trade that too much because of my bias, but that's just kind of how that happens. So while I have this open, let's get right into the Forex here, right into sectors, and then we're going to go into the stock market. We're going to go into equities, and then that's when we'll do the tickers there as well. So again, if you guys have any tickers you want to look at, there's the chat slow, so you can put them in now, and I'll get to them whenever I'm done. Basically, every sector this week was up. I basically look at this at a weekly date basis instead of daily anymore because a lot of correlation's been going on. But real estate has been the best, and then followed by healthcare, then financials. So for 1 week, this is the only week that it hasn't been XLE that's outperforming. So when I look at it, I say, hey, it's a strong kind of push up there in the real estate market. So then we go over and we say, okay, well, what's the news for the 25th? Is that Monday? Oh, wow. I haven't seen that in a while. You guys closed Monday or something? Jeez. 25th and 25th. It's a holiday? Like, what's going on? There is absolutely no news on Monday. So Monday may be an incredibly boring day. That's okay. Boring's fine. Now let's go into my ETFs. So I look at the SPY. I don't care really about the SPY. We're just under, aren't we? So the closing all-time high right here would have been 454.05, and the close right here, was that right? Close 453.19, and the close here is 453.13. So we're 6 cents over a new all-time closing highs, but we did make a new intraday high. So I think my comment there of just we're knocking on it is working, but I do want to add a comment. Long leg dojis equals dyslexia is the worst. There we go. So yeah, long leg doji. So the difference between a regular doji or a doji star and a long leg doji is just that, right? So let's actually highlight some of this. We'll do an impromptu candlestick lesson. So look how long the up and bottom leg on that one is versus this one right here. They're both dojis, right? A tiny little doji, and they'll call it a doji star. And the reason it's a star is because the bar on the cross and the bar in the middle are roughly the same size. That's going to vary based off chart setups and blah, 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 blah. But essentially what these doji stars mean is that it's indecision, which basically means that both sides fought and both sides fought hard, but neither side was able to kind of get anything going one way or the other. A long-legged doji means it dropped all the way down and then it spiked all the way up and then it closed back at the high. That's less about a fight going on and more about both sides being scared is the general interpretation of a long-legged doji versus a close-range doji, right? A close doji, both sides are very opinionated and they're battling hard. And then a long-legged doji, no one knows what's going on. It can also be indicative of a lot of short-term traders in the market, essentially just because, if you're getting these swings, it more or less means that, no one is very tightly defending one side or the other. They're letting it go, and then so people are taking both sides of the trade. That, again, unconventional type of thinking. That's what a lot of people think. But for me, I always like, and people, is the RSP. So the reason for anyone who's new, and if you're new, welcome. Please like, subscribe, tell your mother, all of those things. That helps out the channel. Links in the description below take you to my website, which you can get all of the tools I use for trading, and a free trading course, which is a 40 lesson long, absolutely free trading course. And if you're interested, there's Stats Edge Pro, which again is the output of everything I'm going to do here for the next hour. Every single night, you just go onto the website and you got all my thoughts of the market wrapped up in a neat little bow. So yeah, the reason I use the RSP is that the SPY is very big tech heavy, and Snapchat, Twitter. Oh no, Snap. I don't know if Snap's in there, but anyway, Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, Google. These giant names take up a large percentage of the SPY, whereas the RSP is what's called an equal weight index. And an equal weight index means that every single one of the 500 stocks has an equal weight within the index. So it's more of indicative to me about what the overall market has been doing. And with this one, I always just look at and bullish, but getting long in the tooth. right? And basically, right, we've just gone from 151.65 to 158. So if we look at this on a percentage basis, we've gone from here up to there. So we've had a 4% pop in a very short order. When it came to what this pullback was, that everybody was panicked. What's the lowest close right there? We just dropped 5%. That was like everyone was panicked. Remember Evergrande? Like, remember all of these things that caused the market to panic, and we dropped 5%. And then now we're above that, and we've actually gone 4% in 5 days. So, I'm obviously not bearish here. I have no reason to be. I was wrong. All right. I thought that we were actually just going to chop between kind of this area and this area for a long time. We broke out, made new highs. So again, I got no problem with admitting, I'm wrong on most things. That that didn't occur, right? The only change I would have made is I would have been a little bit heavier invested, but that's fine. So now that we're up here, what I want to see is if we pull back, ideally we defend kind of this level right here. So as long as we're above that level on any kind of a pullback, then I'm still going to be bullish, and maybe we kind of take a pop off here. However, I could still be right, and we could still be in for some chop, but maybe they just want to, excuse me, I haven't started the beers yet, I promise. Maybe they just wanted to get some bull traps in there first. So I'm going to adjust this area, which these shaded areas I love within TrendSpider, and I've begged to have put into trade ideas as well. Because, there's an old saying in technical analysis to, what is it? You draw your trend lines with a crayon and not a pencil. So I like fat support and resistance areas, because I think when you just draw a line there, people just kind of, even yourself, when you're looking at it, you say, okay, there's the line in the sand, but there is no line in the sand, right? It's all areas. And that's why, I look for a close above this area or a close below this area's confirmation. Needs to be defended. Right, so just that's the area that I really think needs to go. And let's take a look. Stream unavailable. Uh-oh. My YouTube's music. It's gone. There we go. Man, I got no lo-fi beats in my ear for 2 seconds, and I damn near panicked. IWM relative weakness still remains, so this note is still valid. I'm not lazy just by recycling this for the new blog, but IWM is your small cap stocks. It's most of the kind of stocks that we trade as kind of short term traders. It's been in this range all year, pretty much, right? March to April, we got in this range, and we've been still stuck in it. We have more relative weakness compared to the RSP, right? The RSP is up on the day, and this one is down a bit on the day. And again, you can see that right here, right? RSP is up. Oh no, my face is in the way. You can't. Just trust me. Then I like to look at these two. So this IWO is small cap growth. So it's the same Russell 2000 indices, but just growth stocks. Again, growth stocks are generally, I think they use PE multiples. You don't need to know that. But basically think of growth stocks are your less boring, more speculative type companies. And then IWN, which is right here, is your value stocks. And you can see that and what I do is I just mark like a recent high, and I say, well, where are we compared to that recent high? So if we take September 2nd, right, and let's actually just draw a line. We'll say September 2nd. You can see we're above that September 2nd high on the value, but if we go, Oh, no, we're way lower, right? So, did I do that wrong? No, no, that's right. So value is outperforming growth. And that's kind of been the theme. So value, think of your more boring names. Again, just like we saw when I did the sector breakdown, the real estate indices is a value stock, right? There's no like real estate company that's, trading 100 times earnings and is going to continue to trade 100 times earnings because they've got this new flashy blah blah blah, right? It's just that's what it is. So value is doing better than growth, and I'll take these as well. And the main reason I do this bit first, even though I trade the stocks based off their own merit entirely, is I want to get a clue of what type of environment we are. If are we in a breakout environment? Are we in a choppy environment? What are people gravitating towards? Where is money going? And things like that, right? So if I just take this and I just do this, right? So are we getting an energy bull flag here? In which case, is energy going to break out again? And if so, I want to make sure I'm ready and I'm watching this. And if this breaks out, I want to be participating in energy names that are good as well. And yeah, I mentioned this, that for the FX traders, the fact that energy is doing well and growth is doing well is a good sign for the Canadian dollar. And again, I don't want a good Canadian dollar, but XLF making new highs here is something that's kind of rare to see, these energies making new all-time highs. So stocks are bullish. Things are getting a little bit long in the tooth, but there's no justification I think anyone can have anymore to saying this is the top, this is the end of the market. That stuff is existing. You'll find any wacko on the internet that's always, oh no, this is going to be the end. This is going to be the end. This one's going to be the end, right? I hear it all the time, but it's like calling for the end of the world. You'll be right one day, but how much of the world not ending are you going to miss out on while you keep screaming that the world is going to end? It's the way I look at it anyway. I think it's William O'Neill that said there was way more money being lost predicting the top of the market than actually, or predicting a drawdown than during a drawdown. So continue to trade as if there is no drawdown. And then we will, if there is a drawdown, there is a drawdown. So I want to just load up over here the watch list, because at least I can probably update the watch list for you guys in Stats Edge Pro in real time. And then I'll add the crypto in tomorrow and I'll do all the fancy write-up tomorrow. But so what I want to do first, I want to go through the watch list as is, which is right here. And this is the time where as soon as I go through our old watch list and I start scanning for the new ones, this is a time where if you want me to look at a chart, have me look at a chart. So VLDR, I should put on the watch list. Oh, wait. So I just updated the watch list just to say I'm watching for a close, because right, VLDR technically did break 650 a couple times, but it never closed. But this one I do want to add on the list. Again, you can see the annotations that, again, the Stats Edge Pro members see every day when I update these charts. And it's basically this thing's making lower lows. The RSI has kind of been creeping up here. And it looks like it's kind of putting in this rounded bottom. I also think, and this is what I love trade ideas for, that Yeah, 25, nearly 26% short float on that stock. So a pretty substantial looking short float for that. FSR, yeah, FSR is going to go. I'm aggressively going to be clearing these out. ADN, I was looking ADN. I actually took some ADN there. I've got my stop under these lows. But I don't know. I don't think I would suggest a new entry there, so I'm going to get rid of that. Robinhood, I actually stopped out of. I was in this one. I finally killed it. Like, that's enough. It basically, for me, I was looking for a close under 40. It closed under 40. I'm never going to trade this stock. I shouldn't say that. I probably would. Again, just I did not like. That's a nice looking bottoming tail on that one, so I'm going to keep that one. Robinhood just screwed me along for a long period of time. Avid, I don't like anymore. Just can't get over that area. ASXM, I still like the look of that one. Although earnings here is fastly approaching. CRPX, nope, that one's gone. So I have an upward cap. I have no lower cap. I'm in LYV. I still think that over, if you get it near $100, it's still a good one. So I'll leave that one. Yeah, I have an upward limit on my watch list, and for me, it's 15. I figure, if I go through 15 charts at the end of every day, I try to enter everything in that last half hour or so of the day. Trading too much, I find, can get me in trouble. So I always keep it kind of tight and consistent, and just every now and then I go through and just remove anything that I don't like anymore. Yeah, GRDX, yeah, I took that off. What a Dvax, it's already on the list. I forgot about that. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, so I'll keep that one. And Weber, WEBR. That one's still fine. Okay, so the new list. Oops, nope. Edit. So there's our new list. LICY, I 1/12. LYV, I'm already in, but I still think that looks good. Gevo, Dvax, AXSM, Weber. I just did LUV, must have resorted. SLI, yeah, I just resorted. HSC, okay. So now we scan, because you know what? I'm going to get rid of HSC as well. And I'm going to get rid of Gevo. Just being like very, very aggressive about clearing, which I have to do a better job on. Because I reach that cap a lot. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to retake all these screenshots. So I upload. See, yeah, it does resort after a second, doesn't it? Just something I want to get better at is, the trading's been a little stale. We only have a few days till earnings on this one, so I have to watch that. I'll tell you a little inside baseball for the Trade Ideas subscriber. Again, if not, links in the description below, blah, blah. This line of when earnings is coming up, they are working on it. So that will be in an update in hopefully the nearish future. I really like it. I just think, they have, so if I go to, and that one's coming up soon. If I go to SLI, like they have the earnings date right here, but just seeing it on the chart as a line, I think is super, super cool. Just, I'm a technician, right? I'm a visual creature. So, and there. Okay. So if you have any charts you want me to go over, let me know. This, I think, is kind of the coolest part. of this when it's more interactive, but I'm just going to start scanning. Again, I'm looking for 6 different new names to add to my list. JPRE, I'm still in this thing. This was like I'm up, but man, this is annoying stock. And I should have known, right? Look at all the overlapping candles in through here. So when I got involved right here, and now I'm just seeing a whole bunch of overlapping candles, I shouldn't be shocked, right? ALTO, ethanol manufacturing, pretty decent short float. That's just not volatile enough. Too choppy. So I see Vlad saying, you guys have donaires up there or down there? Like, because I know I've got a couple buddies that work in the oil industry. And they're... this is interesting. And every time they come home, that's one of the first things they do is go and grab a donaire because they don't have them on the West Coast. So X here is very interesting. It's got a lot of junk overhead, which I don't like, but we do have a 17.5% short float, and we've got this base here that's kind of corresponding right with the support area. I bet you these guys are hammered only because of a supply chain constraints. So if they figure out a way around that... Oh, earnings, October 28th. Never mind. See, that's why I like that line. You know, it just tells me, hey, man, don't even bother looking at it. CDEV is interesting. Crude premium and natural gas extraction. So yeah, so this is one that if that XLE we talked about, and this is why I look at the ETFs and then I compare them to the actual stocks, right? If the ETF is going to break out of that range, I think so will this one. And that was a pretty powerful candle today. Which is another way that I'm thinking about how I do the last hour trading now. Do I wait for the breakout candle and then kind of go from there? I like the look of this guy. Earnings November 4th, so you get a few weeks. It's got that gap fill right above. Not worth it. Zillow. I know Zillow's been getting hammered. Little RSI divergence here on Zillow. Right, lows being made in stocks, new higher lows in the RSI. Generally speaking, that kind of says, hey, maybe momentum's running out. I think you'd have to get it, over 100 before I'd be interested. And if it goes from 80 to 100, right, that's the wrong time to buy it. You want to buy it as it's pulling back or as it's breaking out. KMPH, I was actually in a day trade today. That's just struggling around that. I do like that over 10, but it's just fighting that level so hard. Watch me just cleared my list off. And I won't be able to find anything to replace it. Is this a new IPO, eh? Yeah. So I always, in these IPOs, I like to take the anchored VWAP and I like to pop that in there, and we're way above that. And then also the anchored VWAP and go from the top here, and we are under that as well. So this one for sure, I'm going to like CFLT. Nailed it. So it's going to be like 70, 65. And then I'm just going to update CFLT 70. And then I don't feel bad when I go and eat pizza and drink beer instead of doing my work. Now's this earnings season gets a little bit annoying to do swing trade. Enzyme Engineering Company. I wonder if we're getting any more VHS companies like last time. That's fancy, but I do like this one. CDXS. Main thing I'm looking at here, right? So we have this prior high right in here, right? That we kind of broke briefly and then we sold back down under, but now we're showing some strength at. Again, we have a little bit until earnings. November 4th, so it's a couple weeks. Right, so then we pull back under and then we're kind of pushing right up against this $30 and we have this big engulfing candle today. And remember, if we go back and look at the S&P 500, how it had, and even the RSP, how it had these kind of indecision candles, whereas that is a decision candle, right? It engulfed the last 2 days action. That would be kind of a degradation of the three-line strike. So it'd be, I'd want to see 30, I think would be big. And then it's 28, right? So you're risking $2 a share, so a little less than 10%. 30, 28. And then, I always leave the earnings there right on the chart so people can see how close that is. My policy is generally don't hold through earnings unless you are already up fairly substantially on the trade. Oh, I know I tried this before, didn't I? Oh, but that looks so nice. Okay, so I'm going to add this one as well. Don't see any tickers in chat there. Let me refresh this just in case. I know it's getting later, so people might be falling off, but I'll just reload. Oh, there we are. Okay. Oh, there we go. So I'm just going to change that to 21. Man, I hope someone took that. It's not a lot, but you got nearly 10% out of it in a few days. And so it's going to be 21 and 19 and a half. I just so I already had, and this is kind of, I guess, the reason why, I already had this resistance line drawn that you can see I didn't have on the other chart, just kind of eyeballed it, but we broke out of it, and then we came back down and tested it, and then we put in this engulfing candle that engulfed yesterday's range. So this is going to be another one with blue at 21 or 19 and a half for a stop. Right, I just think you could get some continuation, the gap all the way up at 24. This isn't an insane mover, but right, if you can get in at 21 and you're stopping at 19, you're risking a buck. Or no, 19 and a half, so you're risking a buck and a half, so $3 up to 24 would get you still shy of the gap in this area. So that'd be a good 2 to 1. And, maybe with this one, you get a kind of a launch from the base here. This has gotten hammered, I think, a few times, hasn't it? Yeah. So, hell, maybe we fill this gap and it's a double. But that's just a very good, clean-looking, simple guy. what was the other one? CDXS. Yeah, and that was 3028. 3028. And I see at least two people in the spreadsheet there creeping me. Some good looking names from the scan. And again, I can't just share these scans publicly because I got all kinds of custom formulas and all this kind of annoying stuff. But all of that is laid out at Stats Edge Pro. Old Smith & Wesson finally came down, completely filled the gap or this insane run, and is now just kind of putting in this base, this nice cup. It's got a very clearly defined area there. Earnings December 2nd, so we got a while till earnings here. SWBI. Yeah, I'm going to watch. So what's this? So over 22, we need to clear 22, and then stops 21. So then we say, okay, can I get to 24? Yeah. Is 26 possible? Yeah. So let's just draw this out. I'm basically just looking at this kind of big round looking bottom. And then we've got this horizontal resistance kind of right up here, give or take. So that's why I'm going to watch 22 with a stop. What did I say? 20? 21? Yeah. And that's another kind of, these aren't little fly-by-night companies that you're going to have to worry about doing something stupid like this, which again, if anybody wants an explanation off this nonsense, you're more than welcome to. I just know probably every other YouTuber on planet Earth is just to death talking about this kind of stuff, which it's just wild. It just makes absolutely no sense. But as the old saying goes, the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. And this is one of those things that, again, a younger me would be trading that up and down. An older me, made a few $100 on my day trade, trading the most boring shit in the most boring fashion that you could possibly imagine. I sit out the first 2 hours of the day. I'm very kind of relaxed, I guess, when it comes to my trading. At least I try to be. V-Cell's interesting too, as kind of a support play. Right, so we have this downtrend line coming in through here. November 9th, so earnings is coming, but this $50 is obviously acting as a very strong level. So you could get a move off 50 to 60. When's November 9th? That's not next week. It's not the week after. It's the week after that. Okay. All right, so what's this? This is, call it 53.50. So can I get up to 59? Yeah, most likely. And again, my stops are always wide worst case stops, and they evolve incredibly quickly. So V-Cell. All right, so here's what I'm looking at in this one. Essentially, we just have this area of support right here. You can see all these dangly bits. And call that $50 a share, give or take. We had this big engulfing candle today. So again, a gap down and then a close above that area. And then I'm watching this kind of downtrend that's going on right in through here. You can see connecting. Draw that a little nicer. And like that, right? So if this downtrend breaks, I think we can kind of get up to it. And then where do I see resistance? Well, the next area of resistance from the breakout is right in this area. So that's that 59 that I was looking for. And if it gets through that, then we have kind of a gap fill up in this area, which is much higher. So right? 53. Yeah, I'd do 53.50. And my hope is for, again, I don't ever see the numbers, so I never know if I'm by myself. But if I'm not, then the point of this is always to go, okay, well, this is how somebody who trades thinks about it. And the hope is that that may influence you to say, okay, well, I should develop my own trading plan that looks for these types of support and resistance areas, or patterns or moving averages or indicators or whatever the hell you want to trade. But, just that's why I always do that in my head real quick, but why I always take a moment and explain where my risk would be and where I'm looking to get at is because, again, the hope is that you go, okay, on every trade, he's thinking about his risk. And I think that's just of the utmost important that in every trade, you're thinking about your risk. Man, there's so many good symbols from this scan. This one's... AMTX rings a bell, like I've already taken a trade in it. Box A, software publishers, November 30th. We've got 2 more to add. I think we've got a bunch of software publishers, but man, that's another good looking one. So again, what I look at and I say, okay, well, what I'd probably do on this one is just take a break of this downtrend right here, which would be a close over yesterday's high. So that's, 26-ish. And then my stop, 25.50. So that's only a 50-cent risk. Yeah, 27. So when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing how much it actually moves, it just doesn't. So, all right, in my head, I'm also doing, okay, so how much capital would I have to allocate to it? And the answer for that one was butt ton, and I don't want to, right? I don't want to go like heavy into one particular name. I day traded that PROG today as well. So we're running out of names here. Upwork looks great, but earnings is coming out, right? It's right at this resistance area, and it's just kind of basing, but that's just too close. So a handful more symbols, and that's a little too much. So we have an RSI divergence in this LUNG. What does this do? Surgical and medical products, provision of international. Fancy. I don't care. It's a real company. I really do like these RSI divergences. I know we had a chat about it in the trading room today, but essentially, again, you're just looking for the lower lows and then the higher lows across, just showing that these lows are kind of running out of steam potentially. And then with that, you use just traditional technical analysis. So again, for this one, if we can get over 40, I'd be interested there. Your stop's like 38, so you're risking $2. So could I get to 44? Well, that would be this resistance right here. So I think that's certainly possible. This one's a bit messy. Average daily volumes 200 or 300,000 shares. So it trades enough, but it's on the messier side. So I'm going to go LUNG, and I'm just going to note these RSI divergence that I'm seeing in through here. And then also this pattern like that. So we're going to watch 40 with a stop of 38. And hopefully that works for us. So we have the watch list almost full. So I need one more name. And then again, 15 is kind of a hard cap for me, just because I may discover something throughout the day when I'm just kind of messing around. If that's the way that works, that's the way that works, right? I'm not going to not take a trade if I see it, but it's mainly how much do I want to manage, because on this monitor, I actually throughout the day have just like 15 charts up of the daily charts of everything that's on the watch list. And then, I think it's like 20 charts in total. And then an extra couple charts of just things that I'm watching. So I can work throughout the day and then just every now and then just look over. And that's what that monitor has on it. And, depending on your setup and what you do and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be a little different, but it's important to make sure that, that you're keeping it manageable. You no need to have 50 stocks on watch, because at that point you might as well just buy the S&P 500 and call it a day, right? Too much diversification can certainly lead to, again, just results that match the S&P 500. That being said, you don't want to just plug all your money into 3 or 4 names. So that's why I'll watch 15, 5 to 10 is usually what I'm in. And then we just kind of go from there. MGM. That's a damn good looking one too. All right, so we're going to take a look at MGM for our last one. Again, earnings are getting close on these, so all of them, that's why I include this particular chart, just to make sure that people know, right? If you buy this, you've got, it's the 3rd. So again, it's not next week, it's Wednesday. So you've got like 8-9 trading days. So you just fast forward this 8-9 candles, and that's kind of all you got. Again, if you're up big on it, if your trading plan says to hold, do whatever you want, right? This is not investment advice. I am just some dude on the internet. But for me, unless I've got a big cushion, I don't hold through earnings. I'd rather get out, and then if earnings is a non-event, get back in. If earnings is a major event, then, I've just avoided this kind of binary event that I know nothing of. So what we're talking, 48.50 to 47. And then we'll just fill her in there. So for the Stats Edge Pro people, that's done. The watch list is updated. It's 6:30 my time. I may go through and update the blog post tonight. If not, I'll probably do it tomorrow. I don't know if you could tell, but while I'm in here, the sun completely went down, because that's what it's like in Canada. That it is, that's just what happens up here, right? Is at 6:30 now is when I lose sun. So before I go, not going to stay long because I just got the message that the pizza is here. Oh, you son of a... I wanted to show you guys something. Just walk you around the website for a quick second. Let's try this again. I don't know why. That broke. But yeah, so what is Stats Edge Pro? Essentially, this is what you get access to, right? So I'll go through this last, which is a nighttime scanning and watch list, which is basically the last hour and a half of work you guys saw. Access to all of my scans right in here. So just links to, again, Trade Ideas and TrendSpider. Access to our members chat, which is our Discord room. Not a trading room. I don't say buy here, sell here. I don't really believe in those, but it's a place that we can kind of all hang out. You know, people say, hey, Mike, what do you think of this chart? I can tell you on the fly, that kind of thing. Our Q&A members archives. And then again, with the watch list, you get every single day. Let's just go back to a random day. Let's pick this one. Right, all of the charts again that you just saw, but annotated in kind of one place, right? Shorting these GBP, just like I talked about. You know, this talking about the AUD, JPY for all that, all the different crypto. Again, these will be made as a watch list soon as well. Kind of what I'm thinking about the market entirely. Different stocks that I'm adding. There's Robinhood being an asshole for many days. Right, and these are all the stocks that were on the watch list at the time. And then just my thoughts on the market. And then you also get access to this, which is again just that watch list that I was talking about. I'll just put I'll put the crypto stuff down here so that you guys can go through and say, okay, this is what he's interested in, and these are the areas to watch as well. Again, not calls, not buy this here, sell this here, but just a look over my shoulder. So all of that for $2 a day, which again, I think is perfectly cool and reasonable. Someone wants me to look at VRI. Oh, that looks nice. Yeah. Again, I'd say I missed that. That would be something I probably would have had on watch in this area. Wait, this rings a bell. I can't bring up my broker right now without my phone is this, and but man, this rings a bell. That's a good looking trade. I wouldn't buy it there. I would just say I missed it. Ran from 24 all the way to 28 in 3 days. So for me, I would need to see a pullback or some sort of a base. I just can't buy things that are up like 20% in that period of time. Thanks, Mike. Got the watch list. Cool. It's good. And again, it's part of the service is every single night I update it with anything that's added or removed. And again, so what these streams are basically a sample of what people are paying for the output of the rest of the week. All right, guys. So I just got the message that pizza's here, so I'm going to take off. Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks for everything you guys do, right? Watching the videos, hitting the like button, all that kind of stuff. Follow me on Twitter. Suggestions are great in the comments of the videos. I read them all. If you have anything you want me to do videos about, it's one of those things that I have the time and the inclination to make more videos. I just don't have ideas that I think I could just turn on the camera and make a quick video about. So suggestions are great because it just say, hey, Mike, you should make a video about X, and I'll do it. And gives me content to make and hopefully gets your questions answered. So Twitter is a good way to do it. On my website, which is statsedgetrading.com, a link in the description below. You can do a form submission there, and I'll take a look at that. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Have a good weekend.